disrupting Black and Indigenous racism. My name is Alam Lagasa. I am a faculty member in the School of Advanced Technology and founder of Trendify Live. I have the immense privilege of welcoming our artistic performers to warm us up for this week's events. We are about to listen to a performance by Bear Nation singers who have been together for 30 years. Bran Serezin, excuse me, but on my calendar is showing a notification, sorry. Brian Sarazin, James McMillan, and Randy Kekegamik, who is the drum keeper, are just a few of the members. The songs that bring them together are what drives these men to continue to learn the traditions and pass on what they have learned as well to the next generations. The group continues to have ties with communities in around Algonquin territory as its origins are from Pikwaginagan. Thank you for coming. Please use the hashtag AC takes a stand to share and let's all enjoy the music.
thank you this morning, Bear Nation singers. Oh, do I hear someone else talking here? No, all right. Yawango, a big thank you to the Bear Nation singers. As you're playing, as you're drumming this morning, it reminded me of an individual I heard speaking recently. He was talking about the Gaswenta, the two-row wampum. This was down near Toronto, I think maybe at Humber or something. I forget. It was online, but where he was. And he was talking about, this idea of Indigenous people being here for a really long time, and folks who've come from across the water, and these agreements specifically in this context we were talking about, the Gaswenta, the two-row wampum. And he was reminding us, because there was a whole bunch of Ungwahoe, Anishinaabe, Indigenous people on this panel, but there was also a whole bunch of everybody else too. And he said that if your life journey, if your ancestors, or if you yourself have somehow made it here to our territories, that you have a responsibility of understanding who we are, how we live, and how it is that we interact with each other, with creation, and with the environment. And so it's really good to start off these gatherings, whether it's convocation or town halls or a variety of things that we do here at Algonquin, to acknowledge these traditional ways of being. And so Yawango Bear Nation for bringing us that good music here this morning. So let's turn our attention to our event this morning. We are really excited at Algonquin College to be spending a week taking a stand, disrupting Black and Indigenous racism. And this is the first week of its kind as it relates to dedicated events. And I know that there is a lot of interest, a lot of support, and Sarah specifically and team, a lot of work goes into this. And so there'll be a variety of topics and opportunities for people to take part throughout the week. There are some goals of the week though. One is to build awareness and offer the opportunity to learn about racism and how to becoming anti-racism, to provide visible commitment and support to Black and Indigenous community members here at Algonquin College, and to celebrate Black and Indigenous cultures, to create the community, to encourage the community to take action, to foster an inclusive post-secondary education system, to foster an inclusive Algonquin College. There are 18 unique events that'll be happening over this week, covering many aspects of anti-racism, self-care, respect, and learning about inclusion for employees and students at our broader Algonquin College community. Before I go any further though, let me please introduce a really dear friend of mine, someone who I've kind of just grabbed on and was like, can I be one of your grandchildren? Barbara Dumont Hill. So we'll invite her to do an opening of the event. Barbara Dumont Hill is First Nation Algonquin, born on the Kitigan-Zibi Anishinaabe Reserve, and has resided in her traditional territory ever since. She is Turtle Clan, probably why I like her, because we could just bang shells like that. She is Turtle Clan and has served as a grandmother, with the 2015 Walking with Our Sisters memorial installation here in Ottawa. So Barbara Dumont Hill, elder, grandmother, my favorite Turtle Clan, Anishinaabe, over to you.
Thank you, Ron. Definitely you are somebody very special. I think of you as a wonderful grandson for sure. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all living your life in the good way. My name is Barbara Dumont Hill. I am Turtle Clan, and I was born on the Kitigan-Zibi Indian Reserve. Today, I welcome you all from our beautiful, unceded, unsurrendered Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory. It's an interesting time of year. We're pretty much halfway through our winter now, and as I look outside at at that snow, there is peace, there is comfort. You know, that snow, she is blanketing our sacred Mother Earth with that warmth and healing that she needs to rejuvenate herself during the winter time. And our people, this was our time for storytelling. It was our time to rest, for having worked a long year before, and for the new year that was in store for us. And telling our stories was part of that journey into continuing in a good way. And I think of the snow today, you know, as the great equalizer. The great equalizer, because when I look out at that snow, you know, I can't see which yards have weeds on them. I can't see which yards have a lot of garbage on them. I see, and the neat yards too, you know, the ones that are well manicured and very well kept, you cannot tell because the snow covers all the all the little secrets of people's lives. And I think of how important that is. And although I don't think we should all be covered in a white blanket, but I like the equalizer part. I like maybe if we could be judged about what is on the inside of us, whether not what is on the outside of us. I think of, you know, inside we all have hearts. We all have the same organs, all in the same place. And when we bleed, all of us bleed red blood. And all of us came from one creator, and we will return to creator one day. And what mark will we have left on this earth when we leave, to say what kind of human being we have been? So, you know, it is time for us to take a stand, to create equality, to have a great equalizer, so that there is not less than people, that there are not more than people, but we are all human beings working together to create change in this world. And it is time. You know, my time here, I think of what I will leave and what I will say when I walk through that great water again, splash through that great water and meet our Creator. And when Creator asks me, what type of human being have you been? I want to be able to answer good things. I want to be able to say that I made a difference in people's lives, that every day I tried to make someone's life better, not someone's life harder. And I think of that blanket of snow this winter time, this time for self-reflection, to hear the stories of your ancestors, to share the stories with your grandchildren, and how important this time is. I burnt a smudge here before, and as the drummers were singing, if you had seen the smoke dancing, and I think that this is a day for change, this is a week for change, and this story will be told in another generation of this day that we were gathered together to take a stand, to bring equality for everyone. And we know that when one people think they are better than another, or one religion thinks they are better than another, that it hurts it hurts people, it hurts our country, it hurts our world. And our Mother Earth provides for everyone. And we need everyone to provide for everyone as well. You know, I'm here to start your day in a good way. And to do that, I think of that gratitude prayer, the prayer that was said on this land since time immemorial. And, you know, it was banned for a while, but people continued to say it. And I want to say it today. And, you know, I have gratitude for this day that we are all together to share, to learn, for this week that we will all be together to share and to learn and to create a stand. I have gratitude today for everybody who put this together, who worked to make this a good day. I have gratitude today for Grandfather Sun, who shares his light with us each day, and our Grandmother Moon, who lights up our night sky and breaks down our seasons for us, for our sacred Mother Earth, who provides everything we need to live our life in the good way, for the sacred air, the breath of Mina Manido, and the sacred water, the blood of our Mother Earth, that quenches our thirst, brings life into the world, and reminds us that women are sacred. I'm grateful for the winged, the four-legged, the swimmers and the crawlers, for all the trees, the plants, the roots, the medicines that grow here on Great Turtle Island that add beauty to our life each day and have always shared their bounty with us. I'm grateful for all our ancestors who created a good path for us all to follow, and those 7 generations of ancestors that we all have a responsibility to leave a good path for. I'm grateful for all the people who live their life in the good way, who have respect for our sacred Mother Earth and for all human beings, even if they look different than you. And I ask Creator to touch each one of us here today, to bless us with good health, with understanding for us, for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, that we all understand we all belong to one Creator. We all have a responsibility to respect all of her creation. So for each one of you and all of these things, I say Chimikwich. I want you to have a good day, a wonderful week, and that we all stand up and create a wonderful life for the next generations. Miigwech. Thank you.
Miigwech, Yawongo, Barbara. It is really good medicine. It is really good words. Gana slio. It's a really good day. We are just a little bit ahead of our schedule, and I know that as Indigenous people, we often don't get too stressed out about those kind of things when our next speaker's at 10:13. But then, I know there's others, Sarah, that might get a little bit nervous. So I'm just gonna tell a little story here and connect some of Barbara's words to some of the things that I've been thinking about for a little while as we think about indigenization, and as we think about reconciliation, and as we think about decolonization. And for the moment, I'm going to say indigenization and have that mean one thing. It doesn't, but just for the moment here. And one of the things that I think about all the time is what place does Indigenous knowledge have in what we're doing? And in this case, Algonquin College, and in this case, this week's Taking a Stand, but even in general, as a post-secondary institution, who, if you liken to a stream that's has been flowing, one way for 150 years, or in our case, nearly 65, and the diametric opposition that Indigenous knowledge can mean with sort of that way of thinking, and they're at odds with each other. I use the discomfort for the agenda to be one of them, but there's many other examples. And it was earlier this this spring going into the summer that it was actually Elder Barbara Dumont Hill that sent a video out that was basically it was thankful for the coronavirus. Now, first I want to say that absolutely it's terrible, absolutely horrible. I mean, we've lost like 5 or 6 family members in just my family, and almost 10 if you bring in my partners, and it's been definitely awful. So I acknowledge that, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying. It's been bad. But this video was thanking the coronavirus because it slowed things down. It took us off the streets. It put us back in our houses, and it made us think about our impacts on each other and our relation in a way that we haven't done in generations. And so when I think about the opportunity that the coronavirus and this pandemic and the way we're responding to it offers each of us, I have to also challenge each of us to consider that opportunity. You know, one of the things that I've been talking about with my very small circle of influence is 4 big concepts, Haudenosaunee concepts. And I'll acknowledge to this group that I'm Haudenosaunee. That is not, I'm a visitor to the Algonquin territory, the unceded, unsurrendered territory of which the college exists, Algonquin College exists. So I acknowledge that. But I also bring the teachings that I grew up with, and it's from that place that we've been talking about the creation story, you know, where things started. We've been talking about the Thanksgiving address, basically how, I mean, in a different way, but basically the same thing that Barbara just talked about, all these different layers of creation and the instructions they were given, and being thankful that they're still doing that. Our clan system, how we organize ourselves as people. And then finally, and I don't want to say most importantly, but most connected to the thinking of indigenization and being thankful for this opportunity presented by the pandemic, is the Great Law. And so if you look back at that, it was a terrible time. It was an awful time. There were warring, lots of bad things were happening. And it reminds me of what's going on right now with the pandemic. Scary time, awful things, lots of death, etc., etc. And I am more and more thinking that that the Great Law back then, 2,000 or so years ago, was only possible because the conditions were just right for for a seed to grow. And in this case, it was the Great Tree of Peace, a big white pine. But there was an opportunity, the environment was just right for a seed to take root and to bind our thinking in a way that was generationally unprecedented, because of the social cohesion that was present as an opportunity of that time, the Great Law. And so now that we're edging closer to 10:13 on the agenda, I'll just say that I believe that we are perhaps experiencing something similarly, where there is enough dark things, but also enough social cohesion, that there is again an opportunity to plant a seed that can bind us all. And so I just put that in your mind. I'll plant a seed, if you will, and ask that you think about that as we continue to take a stand today and the rest of the week here at Algonquin College. With that, I would like to turn the attention to our CEO and president of Algonquin College, Claude Brule, and invite him to speak. Before I do that, I'll let you know that Claude Brule joined Algonquin College in 1999. I don't remember if they invented color then yet or not, but and prior to his appointment as president, I did ask, funnily enough, I did ask my dad that once in a full question, because I didn't know, like when he was little. Anyway, so prior to his appointment as president in 2019, he's held a number of strategic leadership positions, including the Senior Vice President Academic, Dean of the Faculty of Technology and Trades, and before coming to Algonquin College, a 22-year career with the Canadian Forces. He has a bachelor's degree in engineering and in physics and a master's of mathematics in science. So with that, President Brule, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ron. I laugh when you said the invention of color or black and white. There's a Calvin and Hobbes cartoon about that sometime. You should watch it. It's pretty funny. Actually, it gets confusing in the end. Anyway, thank you for the good words and the introduction. Good morning, Kwe. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Welcome to our distinguished guests, colleagues, and learners. I'm so pleased to be here today to participate in the opening of Algonquin College's first full week of events aimed at addressing racism and celebrating Black and Indigenous culture. It's another step in our ongoing journey to build awareness, learning, and critical thinking around the college's role in creating an anti-racist society. Let me take the opportunity to give a shout out to Bear Nation for their performance in opening today's ceremony. And a big miigwech to Elder Barbara Dumont Hill. Always a privilege to have you open our events with Indigenous words of wisdom so we can live our lives in a good way. Finally, I would like to recognize Sarah Gowan for her leadership role in organizing this series of events, and to Sophia Boris and the events management team, along with our ITS AV team, for executing and rolling out this week's series of events. This week will allow us to explore what we need to do to create an institution where everyone belongs, and to live our values of caring, learning, integrity, and respect. You may recall having seen a call go out on my AC for Black and Indigenous advisors to join our Inclusion and Diversity Circle. This call was in recognition of placing the needs and lived experiences of Black and Indigenous people at the heart of this action. By listening, seeing, and understanding the experiences of our Black Indigenous colleagues, we are intentionally addressing our institutional mechanisms that can hinder these experiences from coming to light. I invite you to amplify this visibility by taking a moment to celebrate our advisors. Alan Legessa, Professor, School of Advanced Technology. Greg Mapp, Coordinator in the Aviation Management Program. Jackie Tanu, Aboriginal Counselor, Mamadosan Center. Marcus Christian, Classification Specialist, Human Resources. Marina Westbrook, Professor and Coordinator, Aboriginal Studies. And Sasha Leduc, Online Student Pathway Advisor, AC Online. So great to have you on the Inclusion and Diversity Circle. In conceptualizing and building this week's series of events, the members of the expanded Inclusion and Diversity Circle asked our Black, Indigenous, and Indigenous advisors what topics they wanted to bring forward, who the speakers should be, and to define event goals. With the direction established, this group of leaders and allies then planned, contracted, marketed, and secured sponsors. This is allyship in action, where a person of privilege works in solidarity with a marginalized group of people to help take down the systemic barriers that challenge that group's basic rights, equal access, and ability to thrive in our society. Allyship exemplifies our value of caring. It is an act of empathy. The end result, as Ron said, is 18 important events happening this week that were organized and planned in a decentralized fashion, a truly qualified leadership team. You will note that there are 2 events daily, designated for Afro-Caribbean Blacks only and Indigenous people only. These sessions offer safe spaces and will be led by trained counselors. You see, engaging in events that highlight the realities of racism and traumatic lived experiences can be exhausting and triggering. Prioritizing the mental health of Black and Indigenous attendees when the topics put them at risk is an important part of creating an anti-racist institution. I also want to highlight the cross-college collaboration in making this week a reality. The cost of each event has been sponsored by a number of areas of the college, including the academic area, counseling services, the AC Hub, my office, the Students Association, Truth, Reconciliation, and Indigenization, and Human Resources. And this collaboration extends to launching a series of actions and changes within the college. The advancement team, for instance, is seeking resources to support our Black and Indigenous learners by highlighting the James McNulty Bursary, which is given based on financial need to an Indigenous, Black, or a New Canadian practical nursing student. If you are inspired to give, the donation link is on our event website. The Program Quality Assurance Committee within Academic Development is calling for a proposal to diversify the general education and degree breadth courses. Faculty are invited to identify courses for development on the topic of Indigenous culture, reconciliation, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Human Resources has a current pilot initiative in which faculty applicants are asked to submit a written statement of their skills and experiences in contributing to an inclusive campus where everyone belongs. Additionally, our Algonquin College Employee Mentoring Program will be saving seats for Black, Indigenous, and people of color employees with leadership aspirations in our September 2021 intake. For more details on how to participate, go to algonquincollege.com/PD and look for the Leadership Mentoring Program. In closing, I have a few questions for everyone. What does action look like? What can we do to change our internal dialogue and inherent biases? How can we create more respectful and inclusive daily interactions? How do we identify and alter instances of institutional racism in hiring, in learner recruitment, and in our curriculum? All of these examples of action impact and influence one another. And a series of action here will shift our culture to one that is more equitable, diverse, and inclusive. I'm issuing a challenge to our college leaders and our student leaders. Take time in your team meetings this month to reflect on the knowledge and the learning you will acquire this week to answer these questions. What action will you take to make Algonquin College a place where everyone belongs? You are invited to take a stand. Thank you. Miigwech. Merci.
Yo, thank you, President Brule. Now, I'm just going to call attention over to Greg Fergus, give him a moment to confirm his availability by turning on his camera. And there you go. Thank you, sir. And we will move over into the introduction and then turn the floor over to you, sir. All right. The Honorable Greg Fergus was first elected as the Member of Parliament for Hull, Almer in 2015 and currently serves as the Parliamentary Secretary to the President of the Treasury Board and to the Minister of Digital Government. Over the past 25 years, Mr. Fergus has worked in public, private, non-profit, and academic sectors. Since moving to the Ottawa-Gatineau area in 1988, he has been, see, I'm not going to tease about, I don't know if you heard it when Claude was here, but now my joke is done. So he has been an advocate for social housing and seniors. He served as a member for the board and directors of Homer's Arms, a residence for semi-retired and retired seniors, and a member of local parish council. Previously, he was the vice president of the Neighborhood Association and was also involved in school committees, sports teams, and organizations promoting regional interests. Mr. Fergus holds a Bachelor of Social Sciences from the University of Ottawa, a Bachelor of International Relations from Carleton, and he's undertaken studies at the master's level in international relations. With that, it is my honor to turn the floor over to Honorable Greg Fergus.
Well, thank you very much, Ron. Merci beaucoup. And I imagine, Ron, you probably had cracked an age joke with President Brule, and you were going to crack one with me. But of course, you know, both Claude and I can tell you age is no laughing matter. No, just teasing. Anyhow, c'est vraiment un plaisir d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui sur cette question pour lancer le début. sur le mois de l'histoire des Noirs, la version 2021. So it's a great pleasure to be here with you to launch the Black History Month here at Algonquin College with all of you. I'd like to thank Professor Alam Lagese for the invitation and for the conversations and the work that we've had over many, more than years, in terms of trying to help advance the issue of fighting anti-Black racism, as well as also fighting against anti-Indigenous racism. And I'm so glad to see that there is a strong link between the two as you're opening up this week's ceremonies. These issues go together, hand in hand, and it would be only appropriate that I would recognize that I am here today on the unceded territory of the Algonquin people, the Anishinaabe Nation, and I'm so pleased that they are sharing their land with us so that we can join arm in arm to making sure that all of our peoples are going to be peoples who are going to be free and can fully express themselves, free of intolerance, hate, or of any discrimination. This year is the 25th anniversary of Black History Month. It was founded through the work of Canada's first female Black federal politician and cabinet minister, the Honorable Jean Augustine. I get to speak to, we call her Ma, sometimes Mom Augustine. I got to speak to her on a regular basis, and we had just touched base with each other last week. And we were reflecting, among other things, upon the whole advancement and what this means to have the month. And I think it's, it was a way of really celebrating that we are here, celebrating who we are, celebrating what we've contributed to this country, and celebrating what we're going to continue to contribute to Canada and to the world. It's really important, and I'm certain many of the students or the people who are watching this recognize that Black people have been in Canada. This is not something of a couple of decades. This is something of 4 centuries. The official translator for Samuel de Champlain, when he came over from France to this land, was Matthew de Costa. Matthew de Costa was a Black man who served as his translator. Now, that was recorded in 1604, but for him to be an official translator, he had to have been here beforehand to understand the languages that were spoken by the Indigenous peoples and to be able to translate that into French. So as a result, although we don't have a sense of when he first came here, when he first set foot, we do know that it dates at least over 400 years. And over those 400 years, half of that time had been spent with official slavery that had occurred here in Canada. But in spite of that, we still have sweated, bled, toiled to make Canada a great country that it is. And it's particularly important for us who live and work here in the National Capital Region, because aside from the Indigenous peoples, the first non-Indigenous peoples to set foot here, of course, was Philemon Wright, who was an American who came from Massachusetts and to found this area. And when he did, he came in company with a free Black family that had come and came here in 1800 to establish. So even in this region, Black people have been present building this region up to now becoming the beautiful National Capital Region that we all love and enjoy. It's really important to understand our history. It's really important to understand where we're going to be going and to understand our contributions. And now there's more than 1.2 million Black Canadians who are here, 60% of which were not born in this country, who've come and settled here and decided to make a better life, who've sought new opportunities. This is an important factor to recall. And what do we do with this? In spite of all these years of being involved, there has been anti-Black racism that has existed in this country, and that still exists today. And we're taking steps to fight that at all levels. I'm so pleased to see Algonquin College being a real leader in this fight. In the federal government, we have taken some steps in the last couple of years, more than we have taken steps in the history of a federal government. We have recognized the existence of anti-Black racism. We have had a prime minister who said those words, the first one to ever do that. We've recognized and adopted the UN Decade for People of African Descent. We are put together in consecutive federal budgets programs which are directed towards Black Canadians. One of them is putting emphasis on disaggregating data. That's so important, and that will be also important to Algonquin College. And I hope that President Brule would also take measures in that effect to try to break out that data, not just visible minority, but to break out the data to see how things are going within that category, especially for Black Canadians, especially for Indigenous peoples, to see, are there differential effects, success rates, attendance, people who move on to become contributing citizens after they graduate from Algonquin College. So all these things are important. And not only that, now that we have a Black Entrepreneurship Fund, which is money which is really being spent as to try to deal and help with Black businesses, Black-run businesses, Black-owned businesses, these things are really, really key for us to get out of this pandemic, the pandemic that has shown what some of the fault lines are in our society. So let me leave you with something very positive. We can all work together. It's in our best interest. When we have a country that has representation and involvement at all levels, and that reflects our diversity and the richness of our diversity, we become a much better country. And we've done it before. We've done it for women. We've done it for Francophones assuming their place. We're doing it and starting to do it with Indigenous peoples. And now let's do it for people of color and Black Canadians. I know that together we will build a better country and a better environment so that we will be a success for the years to come in this 21st century where really getting along is so important. So thank you very much. And thank you, Ron. And this old man will take his leave.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, for your words, and for your humor this morning. Greg, stay well, stay safe, stay happy. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
All right, moving right along, let's invite Ralston King. Okay, cameras on. So Ralston King was elected Ottawa's first ever Black City Councillor in historic by-election held on April 2019 in Ward 13, Rideau Rockcliffe. To advance anti-racism and race relation initiatives, Council appointed Councillor King as the Council liaison for anti-racism and ethnocultural relations and initiatives. As a young volunteer, Ralston served on several boards in Canada's capital before his election. He was the president of the Overbrook Community Association from 2014 to 2019, where he advanced a proactive crime prevention strategy and promoted social inclusion, along with greater opportunities for youth. Ralston was also a volunteer board member at the Rideau Rockcliffe Community Resource Center from 2011 to 19. In 2018, he served as the inaugural co-chair of the Ottawa Police Services Community Equity Council, which seeks to improve relationships with police, Indigenous, faith-based, and racialized communities. Recognized for his volunteer work, he won a 2018 United Way Community Builder Award of the Year. Ralston was born and raised in Toronto, where he was educated at Bayview Glen School. He subsequently received a Bachelor in Journalism and an MA in Communication from Carleton. So with that, please, Ralston, over to you.
Thank you, Ron, and good morning, everyone. It's a real great honor and privilege to be addressing you at this Algonquin College event to disrupt Black and Indigenous racism. As you know, today we mark the start of Black History Month, a time to recognize and celebrate the legacy of Black Canadians, past and present, who have enriched our country and communities. It is also a time to learn and reflect on the past so that we can identify what we can do individually and collectively to address all forms of oppression, particularly anti-Black racism, as well as anti-Indigenous racism. This month is a time to recognize the strength and resiliency of Black people in Canada, while we reflect on how we can combat discrimination in our communities. This year's theme for Black History Month is "The Future is Now," a call to action for us to all build on the legacy of those who came before us and to recognize the transformative work that Black Canadians and their communities are doing now. Key objectives for all people of African descent include ensuring that rights are respected and that we provide meaningful opportunities to recognize contributions, encourage the protection and expansion of culture, and create more equity of opportunity. We can only achieve these objectives if we reflect on our past in order to build a more prosperous future. Our past reveals to us that the historical racism that people of Caribbean and African descent have experienced does directly shape our politics today. That history included colonization and slavery, which ultimately constitutes a history of social, economic, and cultural erasure. The Black political experience, therefore, is driven by social, economic, and cultural restoration, as well as the pursuit of equity and equality. Indeed, this approach reverberates with leaders of yesterday and today and reminds us of the fact that representation does matter. I'm pleased to have been able to make a small contribution to this effort as Ottawa's first Black municipal elected official, who through the backing of the Black community has been able to successfully advocate for the establishment of a permanent anti-racism office at the City of Ottawa to address systemic racism in our community and to reduce barriers that work to restrict our potential. The Anti-Racism Secretariat will target systemic racism by adopting an anti-Black and also an anti-Indigenous racism approach concerning the way our city government develops policies, makes decisions, evaluates programs, and monitors outcomes. It will work to enhance community partnerships to ensure that we move towards equity of opportunity and equity of outcome for all people in Ottawa, especially when they interface with city services. The Secretariat will build upon the city's existing equity and diversity policies and initiatives to counteract underrepresentation and discriminatory treatment that exists throughout the city's workplaces and in the context of service provision. The goal of the Secretariat upcoming first phase of actions will be to ensure that racialized communities and Indigenous communities have the opportunity to profoundly shape the direction of the Secretariat. Upcoming work will include the creation of an advisory table, action planning sessions with community on 6 key priority areas, including employment equity, health outcomes, youth, housing, equity and governance, and economic development, the development of a gender and race equity data baseline study, and discussion with our community's youth focused on racial stress and trauma. The development of the Secretariat was based upon a specific request from Ottawa's diverse Black communities in the wake of increasing incidents of hate within the city to create a policy office with the objective of eliminating systemic racism in our municipal government operations and services. The establishment of that Secretariat demonstrates that concrete action to address racism and discrimination in Ottawa is possible, especially anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism. And I'm pleased that so much work has occurred to date since my election in April 2019, including just last week, the recognition of Chief William Commanda through a motion that I moved last week at Council to rename a residential street in my ward after him in his honor in accordance to the city's reconciliation strategy. And that was achieved and voted on unanimously by Council. February is a time to reflect on the long and rich history of Black Canadians and their accomplishments in contributing and building an open, diverse society. Throughout Canada's history, there has been many challenges that have disadvantaged communities of African descent. Our history, Black history, however, outlines the journey that we have undertaken to overcome these challenges to our human and political rights and to our socioeconomic potential. That history shows that we have not just survived, but thrived and continue to weave our rich cultural tapestry into the fabric of this country. In order to continue our forward advance, it is necessary to address anti-Black racism and discrimination while also recognizing our great achievements and contributions. Indeed, if our extensive history of significant contributions to the growth and prosperity of our country is any indication, our potential is limitless, and I personally look forward to watching the next generation take the mantle so that we can prevail in our combined pursuit of racial equality. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Ralston, for those great words. As we start to close in on near the end of the event, I am really excited to bring forward Emily Ferguson, our current president of the Algonquin College Student Association, who will also be introducing a very special guest this morning. So Emily, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. I'm proud to be a part of the Algonquin College community, where we strive to be diverse, inclusive, and we work to live out the messages of caring, learning, integrity, and respect. We've all watched the rise of the anti-racism movement over the last year, and I'm happy to see so many young people leading the way towards a more accepting and inclusive world. We've seen Greta Thunberg speak out for climate change. We've seen Malala Yousafzai speak about education for girls and women. And we've seen so many young people speak to end Black and Indigenous racism. I encourage all young people watching to add your voice to this fight for equality. Be brave and correct people when they make a racist comment or share a microaggression, or when you witness racial gaslighting. We can change this with education and dismantling what has been ingrained in us from childhood. Algonquin College is committed to fair treatment for all and is a wonderfully diverse community. The Algonquin Students Association has been and continues to be committed to indigenization of our campuses and has even made it a priority to research developing general education courses in Algonquian. For today's event, I have reached out to one of my predecessors, past SA President Dejana Simon. I've learned so much from her, and I would love for you to hear her words today. Dejana.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to be here. I'm just going to speak a bit about an experience of my own that I'd like to share, and hopefully a call to action for us to all unify on this momentous day. To be a young Black woman today is to be resilient in the face of rejection. To wake up every day and say, I'm going to prove them wrong. To study harder and longer so that no one can call me the dumb, lazy Black kid. To be more polite and more soft-spoken so that I can never be confused for being loud, angry, or aggressive. Growing up, my parent-teacher conferences were easy, often hearing, she's a joy to have in the class. But what about outside of class? What about when I was told my skin looks like dirt? Or when I heard kids whisper the N-word to see if I would react? Or what about when I would sit in the shower trying to scrub myself later? Where was the joy then? I get mad and then I get quiet, creating a dangerous abyss of self-loathing from a world that hates me and frustration from a rejected heart that seeks only love. I get mad because my world refuses to take responsibility for how its ignorance plays a role in my oppression. I get mad because I've had this fight my entire life, on the playground, at work, and every place in between. I get mad because I can never forget the color of my skin and how it can affect my every interaction, from peers to police. I get mad because I spent well over half of my life hating my body because I didn't look like the people on TV. I get mad that I have to educate those around me because they fail to do so. I get mad because the fears I carry every day would never so much as cross your mind. I get mad that I was made to be ugly, even in my own family. I get mad that it is politics for you and livelihood for me. I get mad that I still have to write affirmations like, my life matters. But I was bred to be so unconfrontational that I swallowed everything that made me human. I swallowed passionate outbursts and I swallowed painful insults. I swallowed all of the times that I was reduced to just my skin because I can't afford to make mistakes. My career depends on it, my future depends on it, and my life depends on it. Every goal I've ever achieved, I thought would bring me one step closer to being accepted and treated as equal, one step closer to safety and stability. But then someone else is killed, and I'm reminded none of that matters. This isn't just police brutality. This is miseducation. This is racial profiling. This is colorism in my own community. This is prejudice down to the tips of your toes at beginning and end of these systems. This may not end in my lifetime, but I have to believe in the goodness of humanity, even if I have to sit in the mirror and recite the words, I matter, because I do, because we do. No group is ultimately safe from prejudice, bigotry, and harassment, so long as any group is subject to special negative treatment. Bayard Rustin. Be brave in having these conversations, educate yourself, and call out those that perpetuate these prejudices. This revolution is just beginning. Which side will you be on? Thank you.
Dejanelle, thank you so much for sharing such beautiful and moving words with us today as we begin Black History Month. I hope that it inspires all those who have worked with you during your time as SA president to have a more meaningful and deeper understanding of the experience of Black students at Algonquin College. This year, when the SA Board of Directors made our list of priorities, we knew indigenization would be a main focus for the SA, as it has been for many years. We made the priority model the college's commitment to truth, reconciliation, and indigenization as our second priority. The Students Association recognizes and has actively participated in the tremendous efforts to indigenize the Ottawa campus. We have beautiful spaces, gardens, rooms, murals, and other artwork. I want to end this by sharing an opportunity to the college community. The SA would love to see the same level of indigeneity at our campuses in Pembroke and Perth. We would love to begin having productive conversation toward creating beautiful and meaningful spaces and artwork on all Algonquin College's campuses. Students who choose to study at a regional campus should experience the rich and beautiful diversity and celebration of Indigenous culture that those who study in Ottawa see every day. Finally, I mentioned earlier that the college is a diverse community, and we are all lucky to be a part of it. Let's consider that it is not enough to simply be a part of such a community. We all need to do our part to protect it and to make it safe for everyone. Please learn, have difficult conversations, hold yourself to a high standard, and commit to being actively anti-racist. I want to end with words from Amanda Gorman's inauguration day poem, The Hill We Climb. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a reaction to the words that were just shared. In not a bad way. So first I'll say, Dejanelle, thank you for those words and the courage and the power that comes with them. It definitely impacted me quite a bit. It resonates with my journey as an Indigenous person and one who's very privileged. And the sense of othering that can take place even amongst very well-meaning, deeply caring folks. The system is not set up for us. There are so many barriers that are there, and often folks in leadership positions default to, well, this is the policy or this is the way we've done it, even though it doesn't make any sense, or even though there may be better ways. And so as deeply as your words moved me, I feel comfortable and confident in my decision to be contributing in my small way at Algonquin College. And Emily, also thank you to your words, specifically around indigenization and specifically to both of your calls to action. I personally believe that we're all Indigenous. We all come from Mother Earth. We drink the same water. We breathe the same air. We eat the same food. And so to have this idea that we're somehow different and others are better than is just not consistent with the natural law. When you go into the forest, you don't see one kind of bird or one kind of plant or one kind of anything. It's the diversity, the interconnection and interrelation that is out there and evident, even still, that makes things work the way they have after all this time. So let's now turn our minds towards celebrating a little bit and hearing some of the drums that have come to visit with us and to share their medicine with us. And right now, if I could ask the soul drummers to turn on their camera and your microphones, and I'm going to say that based out of the Soul Drums LTD in Toronto, the soul drummers engage their audience with authenticity of traditional African drumming while performing on the wonderful varied instruments from the diaspora. This unique program is joyous, energizing, and life-affirming, striving to protect and to preserve the heritage of African ancestry. This fun program has educated and entertained a variety of audiences, both nationally and internationally. Please welcome soul drummers to our event today.
morning. That was an East African style rhythm, a rhythm of celebration, of dance, of joy, a rhythm of unity and harmony. We are the soul drummers. On ngoni, thumb piano, kalimba, and the telephone, we have Jaco Bako, originally from Bazou, Cameroon. On djembe and sound effects and bells, we have Doug Soul, originally from Sarnia, Ontario, Canada. On bumbumbu, also known as mangoma, also known as junjun, we have Max Treffler from Richmond Hill, Ontario, Canada. And my name is Altaf Buanamoto, originally from Nairobi, Kenya, here in Toronto, Canada. We all met here at the meeting place that we call Toronto. And our love for uniting people through music and dance and celebration brings us together often. The next rhythm we're going to share with you is a rhythm called Ben Skin. We're going to feature it very uniquely this time with the ngoni, the harp, the Central African harp that Jaco Bako will play. Enjoy, take it in, bring all your family, and don't forget your pets and plants, and let's all have a good time. Jaco, tell us. That was Jaco Baco playing Ngoni. Jaco. So the Ngoni, where's the Ngoni from originally?
Ngoni is from West Africa. If you know Mali, Burkina Faso, that's where Ngoni come from. Ngoni is very nice instrument, and for everybody today, we are proud to show you the first time the Ngoni playing in the Bensikin. So because normally the Bensikin is playing with drums, a lot of cowbells, shakers, or also Kalimba sometimes, but this is the first time we're using Ngoni in the Bensikin. So thank you, and happy starting of Black History Month. Thank you.
The next rhythm we're going to play is inspired by a rhythm from West Africa, Ghana, called Gahu. It's based on this rhythm, this bell pattern, from the Ewe people. So we take the fundamental rhythm, the foundation of this rhythm, which we all love, and we express our Canadian Afro Sarnia Richmond Hillness inside, and we make it ours. We are here living in this wonderful meeting place, and as we celebrate our cultures, we'd like to represent where we are. Our life here is where we are, and this is what we bring to our African drumming and our African spirit. Jaco will play the great grandmother of the piano, Kalimba. Jaco. Oh, yeah, let's see the Kalimba. This is the Kalimba.
This is a tom piano called Kalimba.
So this particular thumb piano was designed by Jaco. This is his own design, his own thumb piano. All right? Thank you, Jaco.
Thank you.
Doug is going to play djembe, a West African, very popular West African drum, popular with cultures and music from all around the world now. Max is playing bumbumbu, mangoma, and bells. I will play congas, and the drum you saw me playing earlier is this very unique drum. It's a talking drum called tama from Senegal. It's very unique in the family of talking drums. Okay? So it's called a tama. What makes it a tama is it's from Senegal, and it uses different skin to produce the sound. The telephone is the original telephone. It's called a telephone. People, hundreds of years ago, in villages sent messages to one another with the telephone. And same with the tama. The tama was used to relay messages of birthday parties, anniversaries, weather changes, etc. Today we're using the internet, which is very good, especially these days, isn't it? Wow. Anyways, here it is. We're going to play a West African style rhythm, and then we're going to go into an African continental style rumba, African dance rhythm rumba. African rumbas are many different variations of dance rhythms, and these days they're known as Afro beats. This is one of them. All right? Get up, dance, have fun. Here we go. Rumba.
Cue.
We're starting with a break, right?
Yep.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go! Where there is life, there is music. Where there is music, there is an opportunity for all of us to come together and celebrate our differences and our similarities. The only way we will find peace as a human race living together on this planet with the birds, the bees, the butterflies, the trees, and all that's in the seas is if we learn how to live with each other's differences and live together and celebrate our similarities. We've got a lot of similarities and very few differences. We should be winning. We should be playing together and dancing with the birds, bees, butterflies, and all that's in the seas. Where there is rhythm, there is life. Where there is life, there is opportunity. And where there is opportunity, there's music. Thank you for having us today. We had a wonderful time. And let's all celebrate this month, learn about one another, learn about this culture, the vast African culture and the culture that's in the African culture that's in the diaspora, and let's celebrate it and grow as one people. Peace. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Right on, fellas, right on. Alti, Moana Amato, Jacko Bacco, Doug Soul, and Max Trifler. Really good music. And I know what we say up here in this territory is that the drum is the heartbeat of our Mother Earth. And it brings us all together from all different corners of creation. And so, Gustana Haladi and Gatni Guha, we bring our minds together as one. And I say thank you. So with that, I know we're a little over time, folks, but I do want to offer a closing because we had an opening. That's a traditional protocol in the communities that I come from. And so what we'll do is we'll acknowledge all of you who are here today. And we call on and acknowledge our ancestors, all of those who've come before us. Some of them have given up a lot. Some of them have worked really hard. And some of them have done so many things in order that you and I might be here today, in order to contribute to this work that we do. And so then I call on each of you and acknowledge all of your medicines and all of your gifts and all of your journeys, and that you continue to step forward and work for the community. And then we acknowledge all those ones who have yet to come, all those faces who are yet to be born, because they have waiting for them a heavy burden that will be on their shoulders. And so we will call on those who came before us, prepare for those who come after us, and do as much good work as we can do today to make it a better future for those 7 generations. So please keep your eye out for like I say, there's 18 events. There's a whole bunch of work gone into this week, and we call on each and every one of you to take a stand against this racism for all different kinds of people here on Turtle Island. So, Yamango, Yo Yanmadi, have a good day. Daneto.